Now, there's a revolving door of bone fracture patients in Wales, with many missing out on medication they need. That's according to the Royal Osteoporosis Society. Special clinics have been set up across Wales to help address the issue, which affects 24,000 patients each year. Targets have now been introduced to address the issue by 2030, as our health correspondent Jenny Rees reports.
Since fracturing her pelvis in 2 places from a simple stumble, Sam Mitchell is doing her best to stay fit and healthy. The 50-year-old is a full-time carer to her husband and says she can't afford to be out of action.
Very aware of falling, tripping over, slipping. It's just made me a lot more conscious of making sure that I don't fall over, just in case I do some serious damage again.
She's now well aware the menopause and that drop in oestrogen impacts bone density.
There will be lots of women out there like me who have fractured bones because they've got low bone density, and are taking up hospital beds and, you know, time with community physiotherapies and that kind of thing, when actually if they were given a drug to improve their bone density, they might not end up in that situation in the first place and potentially save the NHS money in the long run.
Each year, around 24,000 people in Wales will be affected by a bone fracture. Half of women over 50 and a fifth of men. A third will suffer a second fracture within a year.
There is a revolving door of fracture patients in Welsh hospitals because while we do have some fracture liaison services in Wales, they're not performing anywhere near the right level of quality. So we're not catching people after their first fracture. That means when people have a break, they go into A&E, they're fixed up and forgotten about, sent home again. And these are the people who are going to be back in very soon with another fracture, which is often much more severe.
Which is exactly why a recent quality statement from the Welsh Government was issued to address that, with special clinics like this at Ysbyty Ystrad Fawr in Hen Gwyd. It's a fracture liaison service working toward the goal of identifying, treating and supporting the majority of those with fractures by 2030, focusing on those most at risk because the first fracture can often prompt fears of a second and an all too familiar spiral.
The first thing is they're housebound. They're not going to leave the house. And we talk about the deconditioning, weakness of the muscles, balance problem. So now they're going to sit on a chair. So as a result of that, the pelvis muscles also getting weak. They won't be able to do the steps. The various bathroom, toilet upstairs, they won't be able to do that. So as a result, let's say they become incontinent. That's the very simplest way to describe the impact.
He added there are also steps everyone can take to improve their bone health, from stopping smoking to weight-bearing exercise, as well as choosing foods rich in vitamin D and calcium. Small changes that can keep our bones stronger for longer.